What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Neighborhood Podcast. On today's segment, we're going to be diving into the AFC East. So, with this being Kyle's home division, we're going to just pose a question to him. So, Kyle, who do you believe is going to be the division leader and winner, and why?
Well, out of the four teams with the Bills, the Patriots, the Jets, and the Dolphins, this is a pretty easy choice for me. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are by far and away the best team in the AFC East. When I look at them from top to bottom on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball, I mean, this is one of the best teams in the AFC, not just the AFC East. When I look at the offensive side of the ball, I mean, you got Josh Allen, who's one of the biggest gunslingers at the quarterback position right now. You can honestly say he's probably a top five quarterback with the way that he's played up to this point in his career. And then when you got targets to throw to like Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, Dawson Knox, and OJ Howard, I think that by and large, this offense is just going to continue to flourish. And I think, when it's all said and done, come playoff time, I really do think that the Bills are going to be in prime position to be able to compete for a Super Bowl this year. Not just an AFC championship, but I do think that despite the really difficult loss that they had to the Chiefs in the divisional round last year, that one really stung as far as I'm concerned. I think they'll be able to bounce back from that pretty effectively. And I really do think that they are in a really great spot to compete for a potential Super Bowl this year. I really think that's really the limit that I have for them this year. When I go to the second place team, as far as the standings, I have the Patriots. I thought the Patriots are a team on the rise. I thought that Mac Jones in his rookie campaign played pretty solid, had 22 touchdowns, the 13 interceptions, almost threw for 4,000 yards, was probably the best rookie quarterback from last year's draft class when it comes to just overall productivity. I do expect going into year two that we will see an increase in productivity from him. I wouldn't be surprised if he throws for 4,000 yards. And I think by and large, he's going to have some great targets to throw to this year. I wouldn't say that he has like some top tier targets like somebody like, Julio Jones back in the day, or you could look at like Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, really any of the top flight receivers. New England doesn't have those, but he's got Devontae Parker to throw to, Jacoby Myers, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry. I think that's a solid core of guys to be able to throw to in this upcoming season, and I do think that the Patriots will be a wild card team when it's all said and done. For the number three team in the AFC East, I have the Miami Dolphins. Miami's in a little bit of a flux situation right now. Brian Flores is no longer the head coach. We now have Mike McDaniel, who's coming from San Francisco to be the head coach for the Dolphins this season. So it's a little bit of an unknown on how it's going to transpire with Mike McDaniel at the helm for the Dolphins this season. But they did make some pretty big moves this offseason. They were able to pick up Tyreek Hill in a trade from the Kansas City Chiefs, which I thought was absolutely a phenomenal move on their part to really solidify their number one wide receiver at that position. And then on top of that, you have just a bunch of talent at not just the wide receiver position, but I like the fact that they have Mike Gesicki at the tight end position. I think that he'll be a solid target to be able to throw to. And I might as well just throw the name in here. Jalen Waddle going into year two. You tie those three guys together. As long as Tua is consistent, he doesn't turn the ball over consistently, I think that the Dolphins will be in a good position. And also, just before I transition to the last team, one thing with the Dolphins that I have to pay attention to is their injury history. And when I look at the running back core, when I look at the likes of Raheem Mostert, great running back when he's healthy. And that's really the big emphasis. If he can stay healthy, I think he'll be able to produce at a huge clip for the Dolphins. If he doesn't, if he's not able to stay healthy throughout the season, I think it's going to hinder their productivity on the offensive side of the ball. But it really kind of comes down to injuries with the Dolphins. Tua's kind of in that same regard as well. Tua has his own injury history as well. So we'll kind of see how it plays out. But I have the Dolphins at number three in the AFC East. And then to kick it to the last team, I have the Jets. I mean, the Jets were the worst team in the AFC East last year with a 4-13 record. Zach Wilson didn't necessarily have the best rookie campaign. There were times where he was really forcing the ball into situations where he shouldn't have been doing that. I think going into year two, I think the Jets are in a situation where they have nowhere to go but up. I think that Zach Wilson will continue to improve. I think he has nowhere to go but up as well when it comes to just his overall talent and his overall execution going into this year. But I think at best, I think the Jets maybe win 5 or 6 games this upcoming season. And I just don't really see a lot of room to consider the Jets to be a top flight team in any way, shape, or form. At best, they may win 7 games, but that's kind of pushing it for me. But it's the Jets, and the Jets really are just one of the lower end teams in the AFC as far as I'm concerned. So to just kind of round this out, at number 1, I have the Bills. At number 2, I have the Patriots. At number 3, I have the Dolphins. And at number 4, I have the Jets.